Hey everybody, welcome to the Sharp Tongue Podcast. I'm your girl, Jessimae Peluso. How you doing? I hope you're living a full life, a life filled with satisfaction and abundance. That's right, it's all about abundance, bitch. We talked about it last week. And last week was no G episode, just me. I know we've flooded your podcast timeline with Dr. P episodes and you're waiting on a grief survival guide, but we've had a bunch of grief survival guide episodes. And I thought it was time to have a friend back on and have a conversation with one of my buddies. And that's going to be coming up. How many times can I say and? I sound like a fucking robot. If you guys want to get some exclusive content, go to my Patreon page, my fan page, join it. There's a bunch of tiers you can join. It's patreon.com/Jessimae Peluso. Join the fan page. We're posting content every week now. I'm so excited to be doing that. It actually feels really good to be creating again and feeling creative. So thank you for everyone who's been patient. All my OG Patreon fans, I love you guys. I couldn't do this without you. And everybody who listens and downloads this podcast, I am forever indebted to you. It, without really me knowing it, has kept me afloat during some really trying times in my life. It's been an anchor in my life, and I'm so glad that I stuck with it. I can't wait to see where it goes and where it grows, and it can't do that without you guys. So thank you so much. And if you do have time, go to the iTunes page and just leave a review. Let me know how you love the pod. Let me know how it makes you feel. Tell me how I make you feel, as long as it makes you feel good. Keep all that other shit to yourself, okay? You got some constructive criticism, email me. I read my emails, jessimaepelusocomedy@gmail.com, and we can go back and forth. But if you got something nice to say, put it right on that iTunes. I truly appreciate it ahead of time. Thank you so much. And also go to the YouTube page if you want to watch the episode. The episode is available to watch for free on youtube.com/Jessimae Peluso. Check it out, subscribe, tell your friends about the podcast. Let it grow. Tell them that I'm the friend that gives them the tough love they didn't know that they needed. And this podcast is sponsored by Betterhelp Online Therapy. Relationships take work, especially the most important one you can have in your life, your relationship with you. We talk about this a lot on the podcast, how important your relationship is, the one you have with yourself. And a lot of us will drop anything to go help someone we care about. We'll go out of our way to treat other people well. But when it comes down to us, how often do we give ourselves the same treatment? You know, we always say that advice is so easy to give and that much harder to take. We don't often take our own advice. And for me, I've realized the value in therapy and coaching. I've spoke about it on the podcast multiple times. I have a life coach. I have a personal coach that I work with. He's been on the podcast, Brett Costin. I've worked with him for years. It has changed my life. Self-care is vital to survival. And not even survival beyond that. It's vital for thriving in life. Because surviving, working from a place of survival, still isn't really living from a fulfilled standpoint. You really got to learn how to thrive. And to do that, you got to dig into some self-care. No matter if you're a man or woman, we're breaking the stigma. We're breaking the stigma that men shouldn't dive into themselves and learn how to love themselves. Guys, I'm telling you right now, it's sexy to love yourself. And Valentine's Day is right around the corner, so you deserve to do a little self-care Sunday for you, you know? So this month, Betterhelp Online Therapy wants to remind you that you matter just as much as everyone else does. And therapy is a great way to make sure you show up for yourself. Show up for yourself. It's the most important thing to do because you cannot show up for anyone else unless you start showing up with yourself. And BetterHelp is such a great way to do that. It's you know, a way to do it without having to leave your house. It's very convenient, and it's also it feels safer because you don't have to go into an office. You can choose your own therapist. It's just a progressive way to get some real therapy and self-care without all the hassles that go along with getting to those places. And BetterHelp is online therapy that offers video, phone, and you can even have live chat sessions with your therapist. So there's so many different options, and you don't even have to see anybody on camera if you don't want to, but there's so many different ways that you can actually get some really great care and really great online therapy. It's much more affordable than in-person therapy, and you can be matched with a therapist in under 48 hours. You know how many days I've spent crying to myself? Just like wasting my time alone in my room. Go to BetterHelp. You don't need to suffer. You don't have to suffer. Give it a try and see why over 2 million people have used BetterHelp online therapy. And this podcast, like I said, is sponsored by BetterHelp, and Sharp Tongue listeners get 10% off their first month at betterhelp.com/sharp. That's betterhelp.com/SHARP. You deserve it. Do a little self-care this Valentine's Day for yourself. Love yourself. I say it on stage. You won't be able to love anybody else until you love the most important person in your life, and that's you. That's you, boo. Fall in love with yourself first so that you can fall in love with somebody else and they can love you just from the purest place, not from a place of survival, from a place of thrival. And thank you so much, BetterHelp, for the sponsorship. And get you guys some self-care today. Well, another episode, like I said, this one I'm really excited for. I got to sat down with an old friend of mine who I recently just ran into on my first night back at the Comedy Store after 2 years. I haven't been to the Comedy Store since quarantine, and I got to reunite with a few of my friends, and it was just glorious. I got to reunite with Justin Martindale and Jeff Ross, my lovely friend Kai Arentz, and this guy who is so hilarious. You can check out his special Fun Size. It's available streaming, I think Showtime. And he's also all over. He's touring. He's hilarious. He's so funny. And he opened up about being a dad and about what it's like to be different. And I think all of us could use a little bit of advice on how to navigate those waters. So I hope you enjoyed this episode and this interview with my dear friend, stand-up comedian, Mr. Brad Williams. Sharp Tongue Podcast. Beep, 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 beep. You're listening to the Sharp Tongue Podcast. I'm your host, Jessimae Peluso. It's a personal look. Well, it's not really a look because it's a podcast. I'm already fucking this up. This is kind of like a verbal comedy diary, a deep look into the crevices of my mind. It's gonna get dirty. You might cry. You probably laugh. Hopefully you'll laugh. The whole point is for you to laugh, but you also might cry. I talk about my family. I talk about farts. I talk about love, loss, comedy, how hard it is to make it in this biz. I'm a fucking professional. Each week it's something different. Sometimes I have a guest host. Sometimes it's gonna be a movie companion episode. Sometimes I just ramble about the bullshit I dealt with the week before. You never know what you're gonna get. It's raw, uncut, and funny. It's me.
Hey.
And we're recording.
All right.
How are you?
I'm coming to you live from a hotel room in Fresno, California.
Oh, shit. I mean, you're in Fresno? I just saw you a couple nights ago.
Yeah, there's this crazy thing called automobiles. They work really well.
What? Are you serial? Are you for real, Clark?
Yeah, you could travel and everything. You could be in New York tonight. It's crazy.
Wow. That's I'm gonna have to fact check you on that because I don't believe it.
Yeah, I
thought you people flew.
Yeah, you'll have to flag this podcast for disinformation. Me saying that I could go.
Wait,
that
I need
far.
to get some better audio. Hold on. Tell them anything you want.
Tell them? Who's them? Your audience? The they? Hi, they. Hi, Jessimae's audience. I'm really happy to be here. Really happy to be talking to you. Because, like I said, I'm in a hotel room in Fresno, so anything to break up that mundaneness and make me not go outside, that's good. You thought COVID was bad. They keep telling me about something here called the Valley Fever, which is an actual thing, apparently. Terrifying. Anyway, your hostess with the mostest is back. Hopefully she can hear me at this point.
I've had some ongoing fucking...
Because now I can't hear you.
Ongoing.
There you go.
Okay. I'm going to fix you.
Okay.
There we go.
Wow, now you sound like my wife.
Does she really say that to you?
No, she doesn't say I'm going to fix you to me. It's a good joke, but I can't disparage the good name of Jasmine Williams.
I feel like you have a really good thing with your wife.
That's good. I like that. That's what people think. That people think like that we have a good relationship. That's way better than like, oh, you see Brad is ooh. Like that's
I guess
after
it
we
is better
get
than people being
done.
like, "Oh, Brad's in an abusive situation here."
Yeah, he's in a horrible ooh, or like, do you see the way he treats her? Ooh, like that, like I'm glad that I'll gladly have that reputation. No, it's I mean
How long have you guys been together?
we've been married now 4.5 years, so like 6.5 years we've been together, and we got the
Did you
and
know you got divorced? Is that what you're gonna say?
no, God, geez, sweet Jesus, yeah, that's why I'm in a hotel room in Fresno, Jessimae, because it happened, and that
You're done.
she took 80% of my stuff. This is what I can perform. This is what I can afford. It's just me and a hot plate here in Fresno. That's all I got.
In one of those like residence inns where you're a comedian and you've stayed at all types of hotels like I have, and once in a while we get put in those divorced dad weekenders.
It's so sad, but it's so true. Like you just see a guy and you're just like, oh, like because I'm about to go. I think tonight I'm driving to another town that makes Fresno look like a metropolis. It's called Merced,
Oh,
California.
oh
Um,
yeah,
yeah, you been to Merced? There you go.
I have. I've gone right
Uh,
through it.
yeah, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be at one of those hotels where someone's gonna be there who's just like they won't let me see my kids. It's gonna be something like that, and it's horribly sad. But yeah, we see it. But thankfully, no, my wife and I are not divorced. And as far as I know, we're not getting divorced. So yeah, no, I'm doing this for work, not because I have to.
You make me think of something that happened recently, and I only want to talk about it because he was one of our peers, and I know you knew him and worked with him. Is Bob Saget.
Yeah,
And you and I were similar in age. I'm 39. How old are you?
I'm 38. How do you look that
1022.
much better than me? How do you look that much better than me? You're 39.
I'm single.
Oh, that's why you work. That's why you look better than me because I'm married with a baby and have to wake up at 5 a.m. every day. That's that.
I
Yeah,
get up at
okay.
5 a.m. too, but I have dogs, and that's a totally different level of responsibility. But I think 3 dogs equal 1 mentally challenged child. So I think I'm somewhere in the spectrum of parenting. Can I say that?
I don't mind it. I think it's fine. Three, like if there's a conversion chart, because when my friends go like, yeah, I get it. Like you're like you got the kid. I've got a dog. Don't get me wrong. I immediately want to punch them in the face. But I think you can do. You have to be very ambiguous with the disability. You can't be specific.
No, you
You
can't be
can't say
specific.
like, yeah, you can't say like, oh, it's like, no, you can't say that. Like you have to be like, like exactly what you did. 3 dogs, kind of like a disabled child. One of the ones that
Right.
just stays still, like it is not
Yeah, a one
moving
that stays
around a lot.
still, it looks at light flares and it speaks fluent Latin for some reason. Like where did Trevor learn to speak Latin? We're from Jersey. So tell me, talk me through your just because I want to reminisce only because I've only spoken to a couple comedian friends about it.
Mhm,
I actually called Jeff Ross, who we were all just
mhm.
together the other night, and he
Yeah,
was on the way to get Bob's car from the airport with John Mayer, and
yeah.
I don't know what to say. It's the sort
It
of thing
sounds
we
like a
see our
Mad
friends.
Lib.
It,
It sounds like a Mad Lib. Jeff Ross, John Mayer in a car, in a Prius
it
specifically.
was a fucking.
Like it's funny. Some people thought a lot of things when they saw Jeff and John going to get Bob's car. They thought beautiful thoughts. They thought, okay, this is friends coping with grief and in a fantastic way. I just saw that and was like, man, I was hoping rich people would have better cars. Like, cause I'm trying to be rich, Jessimae. I think we all are. We're trying to get there. I was like,
What's your idea
I
of rich?
I want to know that like Jeff Ross's car is better than mine. That's what I
Yeah,
want.
gives us something to
know.
aspire to. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, oh,
It needs
when
your
I
car
get
to
to that
float.
level, when I'm celebrity roasting, when I'm at all the parties, all the things, when I'm at that level, I'm not rolling Prius.
But you say
And that
that,
sounds
but our
horrible because
homeboy,
it's probably a fine automobile, but
yeah,
I'm just
Leo DeCap drives it.
see, I want to know that he's driving, like, he should be driving something that like runs on thoughts. You know what I mean? Like it's just
Yeah. Is that THOTS or like mental
yeah,
thoughts? Because I
yeah,
think he
both.
does drive something that runs on thoughts now. It's a yacht.
He does.
You just
He
throw
does.
you throw thoughts into the belly of the yacht. That's what keeps
Yeah,
yachts running. That's the
that's when
fuel.
when he's done with the Victoria's Secret model, they throw him in the trunk. And they're like, get on the hamster wheel. You're powering
Yes.
the car for the rest
Yeah, this
of
isn't
your
vegetable
days.
oil. It's ran by
Yeah,
Vanessa.
yeah. Like that. Like you should be able to like pet golden retriever, get the dog hair, dump it in the fuel tank, and that's what Leo DiCaprio's car drives on. That's what.
And if it doesn't, we should cancel him.
Yeah, because he's not being
How
good
dare
enough.
you? No, you're not good enough. How dare you not check all of the carbon footprint boxes? You really want to save the
so
earth?
You made a movie about it with a strange
Big
metaphor
deal.
that got nominated for some Oscars. Go fuck yourself. You're nothing.
Go
Leo.
fuck yourself, you lazy bastard. That movie didn't have anything to do with what's going on in society at all. Don't Look Up
No.
is what we're referring to. It was so fucking good.
Yeah.
It was so good. It was scary. It was like almost too on the nose to how society reacts to everything and how society currently is and how delusional people have become.
I literally had to watch that movie in segments. Like I couldn't watch it all at once. Like I had to watch it, get angry, get depressed, then take a break, and then like come back to it when I'm at a neutral, happy level. And then like it was like my life in a video game would slowly start to recharge, and then I'd watch that movie.
Yeah.
It'd be drained out of me, and then I'd have to be like, oh fuck, like I'd have to wait until it's come back up, and then I could watch the movie again. I
was similar. I watched it in 3 different sittings.
So
probably the first part, the second part, and the third part, or how I absorbed it. Because it was, I listened to, I don't know if you listen to podcasts, but I actually do. I was just driving cross country, so I caught up on Smartless, which is one of my favorite podcasts with Sean Hayes and Will Arnett and Jason Bateman. It's so fucking delightful. And a product of quarantine because they weren't working, so they just got together because they're all friends and put it together. I thought that was great. And often,
what a nice thing celebrities can do. They go, oh
yeah,
we're bored, so let's just hop in and immediately have a successful podcast. And
I was just gonna say that.
Yeah, like just like okay, all these people that are like, how many podcasts are out there? Oh, 1 billion. Great, ours is gonna go right into the top 10. And
it is.
Yeah. Oh, I'm listening to the new one that Dana Carvey and David Spade just put out. They have a podcast about SNL stories, and their first guests are like Chris Rock and Tom Hanks, and you're like,
yeah, I've got my dad and my mom.
I'm listening. Like, we get it. You're better than us. You know more famous people. You have better stories.
But it is cool to see those, or listen to those rather, behind the scenes stories. But Adam McKay was on with the guys of Smartless talking about how he was going crazy in quarantine, and his wife was like, he was obsessed with climate change, and she was like, you need to write something because you're driving me fucking crazy talking about climate change in the house. So go do something and get out of my face. And that's what he just whipped up Don't Look Up. That was because his wife was sick of him talking about the crisis in the house.
See, I think that's a healthy thing where if you have a talent or something and then you're annoying your spouse goes, hey, get away from me, go use your talent and get us a couple $1 million. Like that,
Seriously.
that's that argument. When I was in the house trying to run bits with my wife during quarantine, like I'd watch the news and can you believe what they're saying? And like just start running bits. It wasn't like you need to go and do stuff and get this out. It was like, shut up. I have poop on my face and you need to help. get this 1-year-old under control. Like that, like I just had to bottle everything. So it's very nice. It's very nice that McKay's like, okay, I'll go get it out by writing an amazing movie that's gonna win Oscars and gonna get us millions of dollars. That's
Right.
nice.
You're trying to write a joke about a game in the house called "Is This Poop or Chocolate?" and Adam McKay writes an award-winning
I mean,
script.
can I use that? Can I use the "Is this poop
You
or
can
chocolate" bit?
please do. It's something that I say to my sister all the time. I'm like, can we not play "Is This Poop or Chocolate"? Do it. Take it. Put it on stage. Let me know if it works. Every time that it gets a good laugh, I need you to say Jessimae Pluso and I co-wrote this joke.
Oh, I will.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
If you do that and I'm in the room, I will lose. I will die.
Yeah.
I will seriously die.
Yeah.
Speaking of dying, full circle back to Bob Saget.
Speaking of dying. Oh, you know, Brad, when I watch you on stage, it reminds me of our friend who went way too soon. Yes, our dearly departed friend Bob Saget, who if anyone's getting offended at this, fuck you, Bob would be laughing.
You're not our people. You are not our people. Immediately sign off.
Yeah.
You tell me something about Bob Saget from your perspective. Anything. It doesn't have to be
One
around
thing
his death,
about,
but
I mean, everything that I've read and interviews and clips you would watch, he's not many people I would describe as sweet. He was very sweet, and he ended conversations with "I love you." He wrote back every email within like 20 minutes to the point of like, Bob, don't you work like do other stuff. Don't write me back. You're like, you've got other people writing you. You got to go talk to Rickles. Like go do something.
Isn't Stamos waiting for your arrival at lunch?
Something. And then the last time I saw Bob was at the Comedy Store. He was on stage and he had this, I can only describe it as a glow about him on stage. And he came off stage and I said hi to him and I stopped and I went, "Was that your first time back?" And he got really happy. He was like, "Yeah, that was my first time back. It was his first time on stage in like 2 years."
Oh my
And he's like, "That," and I go, "How do you feel?" And he goes, "I love it. I love it. It was so good. It was so fun. It was so like," and just, it made me happy to see someone that has done everything in this business, accomplished every goal that you could possibly set up for yourself, and is still getting excited going on stage doing what we do. And that was just as the air conditioner kicks in. I'm sure you might hear it.
Can barely hear it.
Okay, good. But one thing that I love about stand-up comedy is that whether you're Bob Saget or a Jerry Seinfeld or a you or a me or someone who is just starting, it's all essentially the same thing. There's nicer stages, there's nicer microphones, there's venues where they're not playing a basketball game on a TV and people are engaged.
Or shucking clams in the back.
Gig. Yeah, but like, it's the same thing. Everyone's got to do the same thing. We all just go up on the stage and we got a microphone and we start talking to people. That and we communicate to the best of our ability and try to make them laugh. Like, I love stand up for that, so many reasons, but for that reason, and just that it's the great equalizer, and that you can't cheat at it. You can't.
Nope.
Well, but you'll get found out. But like, you can't. There's no way that you could just be like, oh, I want to do this now, and now I'm instantly going to be better than everyone who's been doing it for 15 years. Like you can't. And I love that about it. And the fact that the only way to get better at it is to go on stage and actually do it. Like, you see comics constantly that have all the money, they're still going up on stage, still trying stuff out. Hell, I ran into Chris Rock at the Comedy Store 2 weeks ago, and he was just in the back watching. He didn't go
Wow.
up. He
Wow.
had just gotten a surgery on his arm, and
Just in the back stealing everyone's premises.
Yeah, rotator cuff surgery, and everyone, all the comics are in the back, like watching Chris watch comedy. It was a very, very weird kind of thing.
Inception moment.
Very, and yeah, but just to see that guy who's one of the most brilliant comedians ever watching comedy and still laughing and still enjoying it, that's inspiring too. Where you go like, oh, cool, you could be doing this for as long as he's been doing it and still find joy in this business.
And find some humility in it.
Yeah, because one thing I never want stand-up to be is routine. I never want to go on stage like maybe a night or two and not have fun, but for the most part, I want to be excited. I want to write a new joke. I want to be anxious to go up on stage. I want a little bit of nerves. Like I want all that. I don't want that to ever leave.
I love that you said that because I feel that way as well. The moments before I go on stage that I'm calm, I'm like, oh, fuck. This is going to be hard.
Right? You're like, oh,
they're comfortable.
I'm not nervous. I'm not uncomfortable. I'm not wondering how this new bit is going to go. And I'm just going to go on stage and recite these words that I know work. Ugh, I got to do something weird. I have to fuck this up somehow.
Yeah, you got to make it weird. That's such a great point. I like that perspective, is making it a little weird. And you and I are similar in that we're energetic. Our performance is a momentum based performance in that you come out and you set the energy right away. Some comedians come out and sort of settle into the room's energy, but you come out and you dictate what the energy is going to be. And I'm similar in that sense. Like, here, this is what I'm bringing you. This.
Yeah, I'm very ADD, so I have to go on stage and do something that would get my attention. And you would think just being a dwarf running up on a stage would be enough to make the audience go like, huh, maybe we should stop and look at this. Maybe we should. That's new. Haven't seen that. You'd think. But then
the world is fucked when we've become so desensitized that when you pop up on stage, we're like, and what else do you do?
Oh, it's my favorite line. Because sometimes, when you go on at the Comedy Store, sometimes you're the fourth comic up. Sometimes you're the 12th comic up, and the audience has been there for a while. That's one of my favorite things, is when I go up on stage, I'm like 10th or 9th or something like that, and the audience is just tired. They're tired. They've been there all night, and a few get up to leave as I'm running on stage. I always just grab the microphone and go, "What would it take?" A midget just ran up on the stage, and you're like, "We gotta get home. Like we gotta, I can't. Like, that's not entertaining enough for you. You're not gonna be like, well, he might have some thoughts that I haven't heard before. None of that. You're just a midget runs on stage to entertain you, a la the Middle Ages, and you're like, I got work in the morning. Like, what the shit?
Are you not entertained?
Exactly. Just want to scream that out.
And you're in a gladiator outfit. We need that. We need you to have outfits on stage.
Well, let's go to Justin Martindale's closet. He'll have one.
I had a thought when I was in the bathroom. I was thinking about you.
I'm glad that you think about me as bodily fluids are moving through your body.
Yes. It was, that's what friends are for. That's really what friends are for. And I had like a serious thought. I thought, I was curious about your upbringing. And I wondered if when you were a child, how did your parents raise you? Did they raise you in a way that maybe parents might raise like a child that's, I don't know, like a black kid that's in an all white community, or a child that, maybe speaks differently, whatever it is. Did your parents sort of raise you in a place where it was indicative of you, quote unquote, being different than the world?
Yeah. That specifically goes to my dad, because my dad, once I was born, and my parents are not dwarves. I want to make that very clear. We don't all come from the same.
It's recessive.
Yeah, it's recessive gene, but we don't all come from the same tribe. You know, you can't like trace.
There's not one.
Yeah, you can't trace our lineage just back to Billy Barty. That's a reference. If you get it, great. If you don't, it's okay. It's old.
I don't, but I'm gonna Google it immediately after.
You're not a. He's like the OG dwarf. It's not. Yeah. So my parents are tall. So when I was born, my dad, I would say he raised me very realistically, where he was like, "Hey, like you are different." He didn't try to do that BS of like you're just like everybody else. It's like,
right.
no, I'm 2 and I wear a size 7 3/4 hat. Like we're not. I'm not the same. I'm not just like everybody else. So he told me like, no, people are gonna stare at you. People are gonna stare at you. They're probably gonna have comments.
How old were you?
Do
you remember how old you were?
Oh, 4.
Wow.
When he's having these conversations with me. And what we would do is he goes, when someone says something mean to you, we're going to write comebacks so that you fire back and then you hit them with something. And literally, I remember being 4 or 5 years old and sitting down with my dad, like, okay, when someone says, ha ha, you're little, what do you say? And I would be like, ha ha, your mom doesn't live with your dad anymore. He goes, good, okay. And like, that was one we used. That was one we actually used. So we would write comebacks together so that when I went to school and some kids would make the mistake of making fun of me, I was like, oh, I've trained for this. This is fine. Like he would, and my dad would constantly make fun of me around the house, but not in a like fuck you way. He would make fun of me like, hey, this is training. This could come at any time. Like, so he essentially trained me to be a comedian if you think about it.
Yeah. He was your first comedy writer.
Yeah, without even knowing. But yeah, he made me realize the realistic sense of being a little person where people are going to say shit. I'm going to say shit back. He also taught me that when I'm talking with someone and meeting someone to very frequently do a dwarf joke very quickly so that they know, oh, I'm cool with it. And so it's not like that situation where we're just having a conversation and in your head as a non-dwarf, you're like, I can't say anything. Don't say anything. Don't say anything that has anything to do with being small. Don't order the strawberry shortcake. He might misinterpret that. Like just don't say anything. So that's what I would do. I would disarm people. And then if you did hit me with something, I would hit you back. And that's kind of how I was raised with dwarfism. And also it was this weird balance of like, yes, I could do stuff if I wanted to do it. They never allowed me to use dwarfism as an excuse. If I was ever like, oh, I can't reach the bowl, my dad would be like, okay, figure it out. So he wouldn't just.
That had to be hard as a parent.
Yeah. So he wouldn't just get the bowl for me. I would construct an original American Ninja Warrior course, like in the kitchen, and then just like jump, climb, swing like a spider monkey onto the damn counter, and then get the bowl. Like that's what I would do. So that's kind of how they raised me, and I really appreciate that. I like they raised me that way. I'm probably going to raise my daughter in a very similar way. Like my daughter, I pity the person that makes fun of her because I'm going to write jokes for her. I'm going to write comebacks. Yeah. And then my wife is a martial artist who is a 4th Dan black belt in Taekwondo and a couple black belts in other martial arts. She's like, oh yeah, I'm going to teach her some shit. So it's like,
oh, she's going to become a dick ninja.
Yeah.
That's what I called myself as a kid. I talk about growing up and having to become a dick ninja. That's what your daughter's going to be. Her and I are going to join forces.
Now, normally, if you called my daughter a dick ninja, I'd be like, wait, is that some movie on Pornhub she's going to be in? What the hell? Why are you calling
What's her life?
My daughter a dick ninja? By the way, so I'm going to tell you a joke that I tell in my act only when I want the audience to get very uncomfortable. I think it's funny. I think it's funny. Other people don't like that it's funny. I haven't figured out how to make it work yet.
Okay, give it to me.
The joke is that so my daughter is going to be a star no matter what, in terms of if I'm a good father, she's going to break down barriers. She's going to do amazing things. She's going to teach people around her and just be an amazing person and make the world around her better if I'm a good father. If I'm a bad father, we get a new category on Pornhub. And we win that way. The audience doesn't like that joke. The audience.
Oh, come on. Why? Because a dad can't want the best for his daughter no matter what life she chooses? You should say that. That's fucking funny. Oh, I'm a bad person because I want the best for my daughter no matter where she goes. Maybe you guys are the assholes for judging your daughters getting into the porn.
Yeah. Dude, my wife is like insanely progressive on another level, to where I kind of did the whole like Chris Rock bit, like, oh, it's my job to keep her off the pole. Like, that's my job as a father. And then my wife would interrupt me and be like, but if she wants to do that, then we're going to make sure she's the best goddamn stripper that's ever lived.
Fucking A. I was at a strip club last night, and let me tell you, my mouth the entire time was agape. I was like, these girls were top notch.
You go to Jumbo's?
Oh my God, it's all the girls from Jumbo's.
Yeah.
Do you know Jessimae?
Is that the one with the mohawk?
Beautiful. No, she's this beautiful, like, kind of like caramel skinned goddess with the most beautiful body in the world.
Yeah. I love that all you had to say was good strippers, and I was like, oh, Jumbo's. Like,
that's so funny.
I know what that. And for those outside LA that are listening, Jumbo's Clown Room, and yes, that's the name of it. And
that's not Brad's house. That's not what we're calling Brad's house. And there are photos
of clowns all over the bar.
Well, that's kind of creepy.
It is. If you don't like clowns, maybe this isn't the place for you. But
also a strange combo with the strip club.
Yeah, it's very small. And
it's legendary. It's been around since like the 70s.
Yeah, but now it's not even like a new thing. It's like a bikini. But their sort of reputation is that their strippers are fucking great.
They are, and this is like this doesn't even describe it. This falls short to describe what they do. The athleticism is ridiculous.
Oh, I'm sitting there like, I go, yeah, I'm turned on, but I'm also just like you're watching a Cirque du Soleil show in a back alley.
Exactly. It's you're like, how does this petite little girl, she's holding herself upside down, facing the ground, spinning in all different directions and making her body and twerking in midair on a pole, upside down.
Yeah.
I bend down to pick up paper from the ground and my L2 slips out. Like, it's not, what am I doing wrong?
You can tell we're getting old because you said L2 and I'm like, I'm more L5. That's my. Here, you want to see something real?
God, are you gonna whip your dick out?
Okay. No, I'm not gonna pull my dick out. I'm not gonna Jeffrey Toobin myself. Okay, hold on. See that? That's a back brace that I'm wearing.
What happened?
I got old. That's what happened.
No, you know what? I've listened to more podcasts and a couple shows. This was a specific topic. The conversation of getting old versus not moving enough and stretching enough.
Yes.
And the person was like, you are not old. The problem is you do not do enough to keep yourself flexible. Flexibility is the key to not getting injured.
Yes. So
you and I picking things up and shit slipping out is our own fucking fault. We're not old, motherfucker. We're just not stretched.
Yeah, we got to do that. And now I stretch every morning, and I'll get back.
You do?
Yeah, every morning now.
That's awesome.
Morning.
You're someone when I think of, I don't think in all the years that I've known you, I've ever seen you wasted, fucked up, acting like an asshole. You seem pretty like even keeled. Now, where do you put all that?
You didn't know me in my 20s.
Were you a mess?
Not a mess, but I lived across the street from this rock and roll bar in Fullerton, California called the Slide Bar. It's since closed, which depresses me. But Yeah, I would go there a lot and have a lot but then you get that out in your 20s, and now it's like when I go out, I'll have 2 whiskeys,
Yeah.
and that's it. And I don't want to wake up the next day. Like, also, I have to wake up and be a dad, so like I can't. Kids don't give a shit if you're hungover. They're not like
Nope.
they don't care. They're not. Oh, you had a hard night last night. All right, I'm gonna change myself, Dad. I got this shit.
Yeah,
Like,
you
they're not
can't.
gonna
She's not
do
going to
that.
breastfeed herself. She's got to figure it
No,
out.
no.
You have to figure
So
it out.
so yeah, I've tried ever since like my early 20s. I had some crazy times, but I've tried to kind of keel that out and like you say remain level-headed. I think it's important, sadly, that you kind of have to go a little nuts to then dial it back and be like, all right, I know what that limit is. Let's not hit that anymore. And you have to experience that just so you're not thinking, what's it like to be like really fucked up? Or
I know.
go off
We
and
have
do
to have
this.
that experiential reference for us to have a sort of muscle memory of what the story looks like if we open this door. What's behind
Yeah.
door number 1? We need
Oh,
to open all the doors to know what's on the other side and to know what it feels like to embark in that path so that we
yeah.
hopefully learn and can grow the fuck up. Like last night I was at a strip club for 4 or 5 hours, didn't have one drink. I'm not patting myself on the back. I just had to get up and do shit in the morning. I was on a few edibles, but
There you go.
as we know, that's medicine.
Oh, F you.
Oh my
room,
God. Who is
hotel.
it?
You
What
do your
is it?
hotel phone call.
Oh my God.
Hello? Phone went
Oh,
dead. You interrupted a
the
very important podcast with the great Jessimae Peluso.
the
That's gonna
strippers at
ring.
the front door.
That's
It's
gonna
your
ring again. I can almost guarantee you.
it's a prostitute. It's your Radisson Inn prostitute.
It's your Radisson Inn prostitute. Hello, I'm your Radisson Inn prostitute.
Hi, I'm the resident prostitute. We're just doing house calls to see if anybody would like a little companionship.
Just see it. I don't know. We heard you talking to yourself in the room. You seem lonely. And
We're doing a wellness check. That
that'd be a
prostitute should do
hotel.
wellness checks.
Yeah, that'd be a hotel. Just knock on the door. Hey, seem lonely?
They should call it hotel.
Yeah. We've been
New
monitoring the
business.
shows that you've been watching. Seems very depressing. Here you go. Men, women, what do you want?
I asked the fans to give us some questions. Are you down to
Oh boy.
answer a few questions?
Fire away. Let's go.
Okay, let's see what we got here.
The questions that the Jessimae Peluso fans see that
Does that scare you?
Like if it was like, oh, the questions from, I don't know,
The Terrence McKenna experience.
Moshe Kasher. If Moshe Kasher put out his fans like, we got questions for Brad Williams, I'd be like, oh, these are gonna be like, what do you think about the conflicts in China? Like it's gonna be something like that. Your fans,
ready?
I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And that's not a bad thing. It's not a bad thing at all.
I'm starting off with this one just to prove your point.
Fire
Bad
away.
Bugs Bunny 420. How good are your Kegels?
Hey man.
Like, I don't even know how to answer that question.
All right. I'm a man. I identify as a man. I was born a man. What's the term where it's like you're assigned gender? Yeah. So I don't know what
You
it's
can
like.
do Kegels.
Men do Kegels?
Yeah, it's actually a pelvic floor muscle. It's
What?
when men do Kegels, what you ever make your dick do this?
Yeah,
You know
of
how
course. Why not? Every guy's done
That's a
it.
Kegel.
Really?
That's a Kegel. Yeah. So whatever that
Wow.
feels like for you.
I've done Kegels then. You know what? I knew I'd learn something on this podcast. Not that I've done Kegels, but I've learned that I've done it. And you know what? I feel more in touch with my feminine side already. That now I can relate to you guys on the Kegel front. Which, by the way,
Yeah.
I hope Kegel front plays Coachella.
I don't think they will. I think their tour is
Kanye
in
kicking
question.
them out too? Is Kanye kicking out Kegel front? Damn it, Kanye.
I mean, Kanye asking Billie Eilish to apologize to Travis Scott is just Kanye really is the barometer of how crazy we've gone.
Yeah.
It's like, you know how there's a temperature gauge for every city? There needs to be a Kanye gauge for the world, and wherever his craziness is where the
Yeah.
relative world's craziness lies.
Yeah, like how we used to have the color scheme for like the terror alert, like it's a red day, it's a purple day. We need to have like, hey, it's a Kanye interrupting Taylor Swift day.
Yeah, which is like, that's
It's,
up
you
there.
know, and then like it's a Kanye saying that if the Bible was rewritten today, I would be in it day. It would
And then
be
it's like, it's a Kanye, I'm doing church service at Mel's Drive-In day.
that's a great day. That's a
It's a great
wonderful
day.
day.
That's a good
It's a
day. It's a
Kanye, hey,
clear
I'm just
skies.
trying to get to my kid's birthday party day. Okay, that's a good
And then
dad.
is it a Kanye day where he's moving in across from Kim and Pete Davidson? Because that's not a good day. That's a bad
That's not
day.
a good day. It's not a good day.
Bad bugs.
That's the next BuzzFeed quiz. Which Kanye are you?
150%. Which Kanye are you today?
Yeah.
Bad Bugs Bunny 420's back. And this is a question I feel you probably have been
Do
asked
all
1,000
your fans
times.
have screen names that end in 420? Because I think the first
100%.
one did too.
It's the same person. They asked a couple questions.
Oh, okay. Bags Bunny? Bad
Bugs Bunny 420.
Bad Bugs Bunny. All right.
This is probably a beaten dead horse question, but for
6
the
inches.
sake of
6 inches. That's. Tell me that was the question.
I wasn't expecting that, and that's so dumb of me.
Okay.
How did you get your start in comedy?
Oh, there you go.
6 inches.
Yeah, 6 inches. That's how I got my start. Is there?
No, it sounds like your dad kind of gave you a leg up.
Yeah.
If you will.
He got me going, and then I was at a comedy club when I was 19, and the comedian on stage was doing midget jokes, and half the audience was laughing, and the audience that was sitting by me was like, like not laughing at all, and just like, and the comedian on stage was like, these jokes are funny, and he goes like, what, is one of them here? And I just raised my hand in the air like, yeah, I'm here. And the comedian called me up on stage, and he's like, I want to talk to you. And I walked up on stage, and he started asking me questions, and I answered the questions honestly. I wasn't trying to be funny, but my answers got the audience to laugh. And when they laughed, I was like, oh, I like this. I like this feeling. So literally that night, I went home. I went to a website that has since been taken down, but if you were an open micer at a certain time, every open mic comic knew this website.
The monkey
chucklemonkey.com.
Chuckle Monkey.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, and you went and you're like, where are the shows?
Yep. So this website was a Bible for open micers. You could click on a state and it would list all the open mics in if the state was large enough, like California or Texas, it would like go by regions. Like, okay, where are you? What city? Like, go there, and unbelievable. So I found that website, went on it, found an open mic, which was the Laugh Factory in Hollywood. And the next week, I went to the open mic because I thought, well, let's see what they do first. They might be really good, and I'm not on. They were not. I could have gone on stage that night and winged it and been better than half the people that were doing open mic. I'll never forget. There was one comic. His name was Fancy Ray, and he'd been doing open mics for like 20 years. And you could tell that the act hadn't evolved because he wore this like pink, not even salmon, like silky, shiny, metallic pink shirt that he would button like just the bottom two buttons. Everything up here was, and he was kind of chubby. So like I said, he's been doing the same act for a while. In his 20s, that is killed. But now he's in his 40s. And he has his hair spiked back and kind of poofy. And he has face glitter. And
at an open mic, all this?
At an open mic. And he would tell a joke. And when it would bomb, not if it would bomb, when it would bomb, he would pause and go, "I am the best looking man in comedy," and that's what he would do. And I saw that guy, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, I can do this." So the next week, I had jokes written, and I did my first open mic, and at the Laugh Factory in Hollywood, and that was 18 years ago. I'm old,
wow.
Jessimae. I'm old.
I'm 20. I'm 20 years in. So
You're 20 years in.
I first got on stage when I was 19. Yeah, this is my September or November is my 20th anniversary of comedy.
Wow.
And I'm determined to put my first special out this year. That's my goal this year, is to put my first
Fuck
special.
yeah.
I don't have an album or anything. I'm like, what am I waiting for? I gotta put some pen to the pad and get some shit, a tangible product out there for people so they can actually, see me circulating on the internet like everybody else. All their comedy is up on the internet. And I'm like, what am I doing?
What am I
doing?
I
gotta put some shit out there.
Yeah. It's weird. You would be on my top, if there was a list of first of all, I didn't know you never had a special. But if there was a list of the best comics to never have a special, the same way for sports, it's the best quarterbacks to never win championships, whatever. Holy shit, why don't you have a special? That would be one of my first things is Jessimae Peluso is a first round draft pick of holy shit, she needs one, she deserves one, and people would love it.
I would love next time you're out, or if I'm out and we're around, or if we can coordinate, I'd love for you to come out and look at a little bit of what I'm running, and I would love your input if you have any. It would be awesome.
I love doing that stuff.
That'd be so cool.
And I'll do that with you because I know that you understand what a joke is, and I say that because I'm sure you get this a lot. Some fans write and say hey, I'm starting comedy, here's my set, and I'll try to watch a lot of them. I have time on the road where I'm in a hotel room. I'll try to watch them, and sometimes they're like, do you have any tips? And sometimes my tips are just yeah, this ain't for you.
Just don't.
Stop.
Don't.
But sometimes I'll see one joke and I'll be like, oh yes, you have something. You got
to start from there. Go from there. Put that in the middle. Spread outwards.
Yeah. Keep that joke. Trash everything else. Write things that are similar to this joke. And
speaking of things that are similar to this joke, I had a fan reach out to me, and Carly actually once, when Carly and I were touring together years ago, and she said, "What do you think of this? I just tried comedy for the first time." It was all my jokes, verbatim. And even it was weird to see someone try to mimic my intonation in cadence.
Holy
and I was
shit.
Why? And the worst part, I was like, this sucks. But I honestly was like, why is this familiar? It took me a minute. And then I was like, oh shit, Carly, this girl. And then she took some of Carly. She did another video.
Wow.
And then did Carly's material, and both Carly and I responded to her. We were like, it's great. You want to know why we know it's great? It's ours, bitch. This is not how it works.
You don't get to be a tribute band in comedy.
Yeah. No, that's the one art form you can't just do a fucking cover of our jokes.
I'm so glad you said that. This same thing happened to me at a comedy club called Pepper Bellies in Fairfield, California. It has since closed down. It's not there anymore. But there was a dwarf comedian who came to the show, saw me, and was like, "Hey man, I'm a big fan. I'm a huge fan of yours. You've inspired me to do comedy." And I'm all touched, oh my God, it's so amazing. I'm doing good in the world. Yep. And then he asked for a guest spot, and I go, yeah. And then Jessimae, he went up and did my jokes. Dwarf comedian. And
he's going on before you. He's going on before you.
Yeah. And this is back when I just had one album out and I was writing my second album. So it's
Daddy. What was the first one called? Something Daddy. What was your first special called? What was your first special?
First one was called Fun Size, but this is I put out my first CD was called CDs, kids. Google it. They were a thing.
Yeah, they were real. They were real. We had a pamphlet of them in our front seat in our glove compartment. My
first CD was called Coming Up Short, And then my second CD was called Hi Ho, and I was writing Hi Ho at the time. And he did that, and he got off stage, and I was just staring at him like, big fan, huh? He's like, yeah, big fan. Had no idea that what he just did was wrong. No clue. And I'm just like, yeah,
How did you recover? Did you go on stage and say anything about it? Did you go, hey,
thankfully he
I hope
did,
you guys liked, that was the first 10 minutes of my act. Now I'm only going to do 25 minutes.
Yeah, thankfully he had 7 minutes of a guest spot. So I did, at the time I had like 45, 50 minutes as my hour. So it was like, okay, which is not an hour. I'm aware of that. You're like, yeah, 45 minutes isn't an hour. Yeah, I know. So I just did other stuff and figured it out and improvised a little. I didn't call him out on stage. I thought that'd be mean, but I definitely
that's where
told
you
him
and
off.
I are different. I would have been like,
told him
this
off stage.
motherfucker.
I told him off stage, I'm like, yeah, you don't get to do that. Like, you know, just, and when I say it was my jokes, it wasn't like he was also talking about dwarfism. There's a huge difference. I've had dwarf comics open for me also do dwarf jokes. It's like, yeah, that's fine. We're gonna have shared experiences, shared stories. That's totally cool. But like, no, it was the jokes.
Right, it was like verbatim.
Yeah, and it was just it's just funny to me this how much I keep having to remind myself that people who aren't in comedy don't know what comedy is in terms of the rules, how it works, what it does. Like, they don't know. So it, like, we're in this world, so we just assume that everyone knows what we know and everyone knows
understands the
works.
inner workings.
It's like, no, they don't. So they think it's fine to just be like, well, it's my favorite comedian, so I'm gonna go on stage and do their stuff. It's like, oh,
he'll appreciate it. I'm gonna show him how much I love him. That's the equivalent of somebody wearing your skin. Like, that's the equivalent of me coming home and there's a man in the house. He peels my skin and he wears it, and I'm watching him. I'm sitting here skinless.
Yeah.
I'm the inside of my meat suit and he's sitting on the couch wearing my meat suit. That's the equivalent of someone just going up and doing your stand-up. You're like, hey, that's mine.
Yeah, it's dramatic, but it's not wrong because it's yours. It's your thoughts. It's, in many cases, it's your life. It's your stories. So yeah, it really was. And that was just hilarious to me that yeah, he didn't know that rule. I've had that. Then there was another guy that asked for a guest spot and literally started doing Anthony Jeselnik's album and got off stage, and I was like, hey, do you know who Anthony Jeselnik is?
Did he act like he didn't?
And he was like, no, who's that? I was like, that's the guy whose jokes you just did. Like,
how do you not?
And like, Jeselnik's jokes are so individual and so like, it's not a premise.
It's not a premise that's like, oh, you know, like a Seinfeld sock. Where does the other sock go? That's something that everybody can ask themselves.
Yeah.
He's like, have you ever been fucking a skull of a rhinoceros? And like, it's so weird and dark, and there's always someone being fucked or dying. That's Jeselnik. It used to be.
Yeah. So like, I had to walk up to him and be like, yeah, you just did. And it's it's also the flat out denial of once you got caught that always makes me laugh. It's like, dude, just say, yeah, I did Jeselnik's jokes because I don't have jokes. I wanted to do well. I'd be like, okay.
It's so hard for people to be accountable.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, just don't do that. Now you know not to do that. And did you think this was going to go somewhere? Like, you think they would book you as a headliner just doing Jeselnik's act and you would tour the country and get a special?
Right.
Just doing Jeselnik's act? Like, I don't.
Of all places, you shouldn't do somebody else's act as at a comedy club, because I'm bad. Like, I'm not somebody who's like studied comedians.
Sure.
I don't, you know, I haven't really seen anyone's special in entirety.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like. I'm different when it comes to that. I know there's a lot of people who study and they know this joke and that joke and all of that. I there's even my jokes. Most nights I get up, I'm like, what was it? What the fuck am I up here saying? I don't know what I'm saying up here.
Yeah.
But it is, it is such a unique thing in that to be to be a comedian, the art form is something that can't be, like you said, covered. It's not like music where someone can do a version
Nope.
of it. It doesn't
Nope.
exist like that. That's the uniqueness of it. It's
Yeah. You have to figure
purely
out what works for you.
individualized.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have
And
to figure out what works for you and what your thing is and your comedic voice, Jessimae, your comedic voice.
yes, yes. What do you feel like coming out of quarantine and things are starting to open back up? What are some of your things that you're looking forward to, or goals, or maybe how are you approaching stand up differently now coming out of these past two and a half
Oh,
years?
I'll tell you this. Now I'm just thankful. Whenever I'm up on stage, I'm thankful. And then, because I don't know how you reacted, but when everything shut down in March of 2020, I was like, wait, is this gonna come back? Like, there was that initial like, hey, 2 weeks, we flatten the curve, we get back to
That's right.
normal. Okay,
Did
remember
we say
that? That was cute.
weeks? Did we
Yeah,
say
it was like
weeks?
2 weeks to
Ah, God,
flatten the curve. Okay,
that was a
and
misspeak. Misspeak.
then it just kept going, and I was just like, holy shit! Like, what if this doesn't come back? Like, what if this is just not a thing anymore? And it sounds stupid now to have that thought, but at the time we had no idea what was happening, like what was going to be. So now it's like the little things about going on the road and doing stand up that I may have not liked before or bugged me. Now they don't bug me because I'm like, oh,
Yes, interesting.
but I get to do this. I'm
Yep.
back. I mean, the first time I did stand up back after the lockdown, I got off stage and I cried. I cried. I burst into tears.
Is that
'Cause I'm
because
like,
you bombed?
yes, because I hadn't done it in so long.
Sorry, I'm sorry.
It was great though. It was a great line. Great line. Yes, Brad, I've seen your act. I'd cry too. I'd cry too if it was like, oh, great, another dwarf joke.
I did it. Wasn't.
So good.
I feel you. I feel like you were overcome with emotion, I'm sure.
Yeah, I thought this thing that has defined who I am as a person and it had been taken away, and I didn't know if I'd be able to do it again, and not in the same way. And people were like, "Yeah, but the theaters were like a third full, or the clubs were a third full. Like, didn't that suck?" I'm like, "Yeah, but I've only been selling tickets for about 4 years. Like, it's not too long ago that I was doing rooms and a third filled club on a Friday was the standard. Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just going back to that. It was like, okay, great. Now I'm going back to when I wasn't as popular and I wasn't selling tickets. And
And the difference is these people are so excited to be out and they know me.
oh, they were the
So it
best
feels like
crowds.
it's full in any ways,
If you're
I felt
risking
that.
getting this disease, like, because that was the thing that would always trend whenever like a band would do a concert or whatever. Like when Smash Mouth came back and they had a big crowd and it was like right in the middle of the pandemic. Like everyone's like, "You're gonna risk your life for Smash Mouth?" like so.
Yeah, bro.
And like, yeah, if you heard All Star, it's a banger. Um, so like, yeah, those people that came out to those early comedy shows when it was like a third capacity, stuff like that, like, yeah, those are real fans. Those are real fans that are like, oh, I'm seeing Jessimae Peluso, I'm seeing Brad Williams, like they're in my town. I don't care if I get COVID, fuck it.
Yeah,
Like
and that's a
that's
lot of the messages I would get, like, "Fuck COVID, I'm coming to see you." I'm like, "All right, bro, just don't cough on me, please.
yeah.
So
And
excited to
that
see you, don't cough on me."
I would tell people like, okay, like I'm thankful, I'm very thankful, but at the same
Yeah.
time, I'm like, but you do you. Like some people would write me and be like, yeah, but you're in town. I want to come see you, but I'm not comfortable coming out. I'd be like, that's fine. Totally fine. I
Yep.
get it. I wouldn't go out and see me. Like,
Right.
yeah, so yeah, but that's what the pandemic has taught me is just those little things about stand up that may have annoyed me before. They don't now, which is kind of nice that they don't annoy me. And now I'm just back and I'm doing it and I get to go to Fresno, California, where I am right now. Tomorrow, Merced. The next day, Bakersfield. Let's fucking go.
Yeah, that's
And
a good point. Okay, so this is gonna be up next, so it's Tuesday. This is going up Tuesday.
okay,
Where can everybody find you? Where are you gonna be next
yeah,
weekend and coming
yeah.
weeks? Let
This
them know.
weekend, I am in Baltimore at Magoobies.
Yeah.
Yeah, fun club. And the following week, the last week of February, I am at the Houston Improv. But for all my dates, go to bradwilliamscomedy.com. And I'm pretty much I'm booked into 2023, so I've got some stuff, and it's all laid out
Yeah.
there. So if I'm not coming to your town, wait. I'll get there.
You'll be there.
I'll get there.
I guess like the last thing I want to ask you is, okay, this is really macabre. Are you ready
Oh
for
boy.
it?
Oh boy.
I'm gonna start a new game with
We've
comedians that come
covered
on the
Saget.
podcast.
We've covered my daughter doing porn and stripping, and now you're
Where
like,
could we
and
possibly go?
this is gonna be macabre. Oh, okay. Let's go.
I'm realizing I'm stepping into an evolution of myself that two things: doesn't give a fuck and doesn't give a fuck if you give a fuck that I don't give a fuck, but I'm coming from love.
That's a very
That
inception of fucks.
yes, it is.
You don't give a
my
fuck
brand.
that I'm not giving a fuck that you don't give a fuck. I like that.
Right.
And also,
Thank you.
Jessimae, I've never known you to give two fucks. You once did a whole video podcast with a see-through shirt and no bra. Not that I was paying attention. And I was like,
I did.
Yeah. I was like, oh, this lady does not give a fuck. It's great.
Oh, I have great boobs though. I have great boobs.
You know what?
They're fantastic.
Good for you.
Thank you.
Well done. Enjoy them.
Thank you.
Share them with those who deserve it. And
yep.
And you know, not just on a video. Now everyone's frantically Googling, what podcast was this where Jessimae Peluso?
Good luck finding it, folks.
Yeah, they're like on MrSkin.com typing in like Jessimae Peluso. Anyway,
it's on the Patreon. You got to pay for it.
I'm distracting. So, let's get to this macabre shit. Let's go.
The macabre question is,
okay.
You know, you're on the road, you're in these hotels.
Yep.
And say tonight is your Saget. Okay, you're about to have a Saget. Where you're done. That's it. You go to sleep, you don't wake up. This is your last broadcast prior to you pulling a Saget. What do you say, or what do you hope for, and what do you want people to know?
Wow. Okay. That is macabre. You delivered. Sometimes people underdeliver, like, oh no, this thing is kind of edgy. I'm like, it's not gonna be edgy. I can get like, it's not. You that delivered. All right. If this is my Saget, don't feel bad. I've gotten to do more in this life that is I would have ever thought. Meet heroes, hang out with amazingly talented people, have experiences that people who've lived 4 lifetimes could only imagine, could only hope to have. So don't feel bad. Number 2, take care of my daughter. That would be the most important thing for me. If you're doing a GoFundMe, don't do it for my funeral. I don't care. Put me in the Neptune Society where they just come get my body and catapult me into the ocean. I don't care. I'm gone. I have no. At least give people a one last laugh where I get to look up and be like, is that a flying dwarf? Slash. Like, you know what I mean? Like, and just they have some sort of mermaid thing that's on the news now, and Rogan talks about it. Like, no. There's been dwarf mermaids seen off the Pacific Ocean. Like just do this whole thing. Alex Jones is going nuts. Like, the dwarf mermaids are turning frogs gay. Like, you know, just do whatever you need to do. Fine. I don't care about my funeral. Just take care of my daughter. Take care of my daughter. Don't feel sorry for me. And one thing that this pandemic has taught us, and you're seeing it, the way people move, the way people are now not going back to jobs that they don't want to do. I would kind of say, to a degree, find that thing that makes you happy, and not just happy, because that's almost too much, but satisfied. Find the thing that makes you satisfied, whether it be the house, whether it be the apartment. Don't try to achieve things because that's what people are supposed to do in your mind. Like, you've been told buy a house, so I have to save up and buy a house or do this thing. Like, nah, if you're happy living in an apartment, cool. Live in an apartment. If you're happy being single, great. Be single. Don't go get married because you feel like you have to. Don't have kids because you feel like you have to. Only do things that you think make your life better and fulfill your life or fulfill the lives of others around you. Do those types of things. That's what we found out here in the pandemic. So that's what I would leave for people. Don't feel sorry for me. Take care of my daughter and streamline your life to things that are positive and good, and surround yourself with people who love you and who you love. And there you go.
That's beautiful. Perfect. And I appreciate you. I appreciate you making time. I know you're on the road and the time is valuable, how we spend
I know.
it.
I
And
have so
that's the
much
one
to
thing that
do in
I've learned.
Fresno, Jessimae. So
You
much
have
to
to
do.
go out there and see, you have to get outside and just, see the tumbleweeds. There's probably a flea market you're going to hit up. I know you're busy.
Ooh, flea market. Let's go.
But I do love you. Tell them one more time where they can find your specials and your website.
Yeah. First of all, love you too. BradWilliamsComedy.com is where you can go for all my tour dates. You can follow me on Instagram at BradWilliamsComic. Follow me on Twitter at FunnyBrad. If you want to see some of my past comedy specials, my first 2 comedy specials, Fun Size and Daddy Issues, are streaming on Amazon Prime. If you have those, so you can go check those out. And also, I was part of the Degenerates season 1 on Netflix. So you can go. There's some other great comics. You can watch Big J. Okerson, Christina P., Joey Diaz, myself. Season 2, I think there's like Miss Pat, Jim Norton,
Yamanika is on.
Yeah, Yamanika Sanders, love her.
Yep.
So yeah, there's Robert Kelly. It's a great little thing. It's a little snippet of comedy that if you're like, I want my comedy to talk about stuff that makes me slightly uncomfortable, that's the stuff that you watch. So
comedy that keeps it real. And that's why, I honestly when I know you're in the room or you're where I'm at, I watch you just because you literally are so much fucking fun to watch on stage. You're a blast. Well, I love you. I can't wait to see you again. Seeing you, that was my first night back to the store after like 2 years of quarantine, and it was so much fun, and I was so happy to see you. And
we laughed so hard.
We laughed.
We laughed.
It felt so good.
How great did that feel?
It really did feel so good. So have fun on the road, and I look forward to seeing you back in LA.
Always.
Let's grab some lunch or something, and bring your daughter around me so I can like get just satisfied.
Yeah,
like
we'll rub some Asian dwarf baby vibes off of you. Like,
yes, I want to squeeze her. I want to meet her and squeeze her.
We'll make it
happen.
All
right, brother. Well, I love you. Thank you so much.
Love you more. We'll talk to you soon.
Go get that stripper.
Ha! Bye.